Ladies, in a world so often starved of depth, in a time where connection is replaced with convenience and intimacy is confused with immediacy, there remains a sacred truth buried beneath the noise. A truth about men, about love, about presence, and about the unspeakable power of a woman who knows how to awaken something divine in a man's soul. There is something eternal in the way a man loves. Not in the words he says, not in the pride he wears, but in what he feels, silently, intensely, deeply, when he is with a woman who sees him not just with her eyes, but with her spirit. A wise man once said, "Touch my body, and I'll remember the sensation. Touch my soul, and I'll never forget your name." Foreplay, for the conscious man, is not a sequence of actions. It's a sacred dance of trust, vulnerability, and hunger wrapped in reverence. It is when he allows himself to not just be seen, but undone. It's not about the perfect move, the perfect line, the perfect body. It's about a moment where he finally feels safe enough to surrender his armor. So ladies, this is not just about desire, this is about divinity. This is not just about touching a man's skin. This is about touching his hidden silence. Let me speak to the soul inside you, the one that already knows she is powerful. Let me speak to the woman who is tired of games and ready to learn how to stir the storm inside a man, not to control him, but to awaken him. Because the truth is this, a man may be strong in the world, but in the presence of the right woman he wants to be soft, seen, held, broken open, not with force, but with feminine fire, not with pressure, but with presence, not with questions, but with knowing. Ladies, do not let this world convince you that your softness is weakness. It is your superpower. It is what he aches for. And in those private, sacred moments before love becomes physical, he doesn't want performance. He wants poetry. He doesn't want perfection. He wants permission to feel, to express, to fall, and he wants to fall into you. So if you've ever wondered, what truly moves a man? What touches him beyond the surface? What brings him to a point where he feels free enough to be real? Then open your heart and hear me now. Because here are 5 sacred things that a man deeply loves, craves, and remembers during foreplay in bed. These are not actions, they are invitations, they are emotional doorways, they are spiritual awakenings. 1. Emotional presence over physical pressure. Ladies, a man may never say this out loud, but deep within him lies a yearning for your presence, not just your participation. You see, in the sacred space of foreplay, it's not about doing more, it's about being more, being there, fully, genuinely, when you touch him. Touch him like you mean it, not with rush, not with performance, but with the soft gravity of a woman who is completely there, body, heart, and soul. Because men can feel when your mind is wandering, they can feel when you're pretending, they can feel when you're giving from emptiness instead of overflow. But oh, when you are truly present with him, when your eyes say, "I'm right here," when your energy whispers, "I want this with you, not because I have to, but because I choose to," that presence. It melts him, it softens the parts of him the world told him to keep hard. It says to him, "You are not a performance, you are a person, you are seen." That kind of presence, it's rare, it's unforgettable. And it's the difference between being touched and being felt. So before your hands speak, let your heart arrive first. Be there, fully, authentically, because that presence is the first thing he loves. 2. Whispered admiration in his ear. Ladies, never underestimate the power of your voice. Not just what you say, but how you say it. A man may appear strong, silent, put together on the outside, but inside, he's still a boy who wants to be chosen, still a soul that craves to be seen as enough, still a heart that longs to hear, "You matter to me. You make me feel safe. You are wanted." And when those words come from your lips, not in a shout, not in a scream, but in a whisper, close to his ear, like a secret made only for him, that moment, it echoes inside him forever. It's not about manipulation. It's about recognition. When you lean in, when your breath brushes his skin and your words wrap around his insecurities like silk, when you tell him, "I love the way you hold me. I feel safe with you. You're turning me on just by being here with me." You don't just arouse him. You awaken him. You affirm something sacred within him. He doesn't just want your hands. He wants your affirmation. He wants your words to kiss the parts of him even he's afraid to love. Because here's the truth. Men carry so many unspoken doubts. So many masks, so many wounds, but one whispered truth from a woman who sees past all of it can undo years of silence. So whisper to him, let your voice be the medicine, let your words become the fire. Because admiration, softly spoken, sincerely given, that is not flirtation, that is transformation, and that is the second thing he loves. 3. The gift of slow, intentional touch, ladies. There is an ancient language that speaks louder than words. It is the language of touch, not rushed, not rehearsed, but slow, sacred, and intentional. In a world that moves fast, that touches out of habit, that rushes to the climax, the woman who touches a man like she's memorizing him. She becomes unforgettable. This is not about technique. This is not about getting a reaction. This is about connection. When your hands move slowly, gently exploring, honoring, discovering, not as if you're trying to get somewhere, but as if you've already arrived. That's when he melts. That's when he exhales the breath he didn't know he was holding. That's when he realizes she's not just here to take. She's here to give something real, because slow touch tells him you're safe. You're worth time. You don't have to perform. You can just be. And there's something deeply masculine in a man that awakens when a woman touches him like he's valuable. Not just desired, but cherished. Not just attractive, but sacred. Let your hands be like poetry on his skin. Let your fingers say, I see you, I honor you, I'm here with you. Let every movement carry the message, I'm not in a hurry to leave your soul. Because in that slowness, in that presence, in that sacred tempo of intentional touch, he feels loved, he feels chosen, he feels alive, and that is the third thing he loves. 4. Eye contact that says, I see you, ladies. There is something more intimate than lips meeting lips, more electrifying than touch against skin. It is the moment your eyes lock with his, and you do not look away. In that space, everything changes. Because men live much of their lives unseen, they walk through crowds, lead families, carry burdens, wear masks, and so few ever stop to truly see the man beneath it all. But when you look at him, really look at him with no judgment, no expectations, no games. Just your raw, present, feminine essence. He feels it, not in his mind, in his spirit. When your gaze holds him, you tell him what no words ever could. I'm not afraid of your truth. You don't have to hide here. You are enough, even in silence. That kind of eye contact isn't casual. It's cosmic. It's the kind of moment that makes time disappear. It says, I choose you, not the version the world wants, but the version you are when no one else is watching. You could be undressing him with your hands, but when you undress his soul with your eyes, that's when you awaken the man who's buried beneath layers of strength and survival. You awaken the lover, the protector, the human, because when a woman looks at a man with full-hearted presence, with openness instead of fear, with fire instead of performance, he feels invited into his truest self. He feels safe enough to become everything you see in him. So hold his gaze, let your eyes be the mirror that reflects not just his body, but his worth, because in that moment, ladies, you don't just arouse him, you resurrect him, and that is the fourth thing he loves. 5. Vulnerability that invites his own ladies. There is nothing more disarming, more seductive, more soul-awakening to a man than a woman who shows him her truth, not with tears of pain, but with the courage to be real. Because in a world that teaches men to stay guarded, to never cry, to never break, what he craves most, whether he knows it or not, is a space where he doesn't have to be a warrior. He longs for a moment to breathe without armor. And do you know what gives him that moment? Your vulnerability, when you're not trying to be perfect. When you let your breath tremble a little, when you let him see that you feel, when you don't hide your desire, your fear, your softness, that's when he feels something sacred crack open inside of him. It's not weakness, it's not manipulation, it's invitation. You say to him without saying a word, I trust you with the real me, and in return he thinks maybe I can trust her with the real me too. When you let go of performance and step into presence. When you stop trying to impress and simply express. You don't just allow him to open up, you give him permission to be human, and in that space, he finds more than desire, he finds belonging, he finds freedom. Because vulnerability is not about being emotional, it's about being honest, and when he sees your honesty, your realness, your willingness to stand there raw and radiant. He begins to see himself through your bravery. You become more than his lover. You become his home, so don't be afraid to feel. Don't be afraid to show him your heart, your laughter, your shyness, your passion. Because the woman who lets herself be known is the woman who helps a man finally know himself. And that is the fifth thing he loves, ladies. This is not just a message about foreplay. This is a message about awakening, about returning to the ancient truth that love is not found in acts alone, but in the energy behind them. What men truly crave, beneath the surface of their strength, beneath their silence and their shields, is a woman who knows how to love from her center, a woman who gives not just her body, but her spirit. A woman who touches, speaks, looks, and shows up from a place of wholeness. Because a man doesn't fall in love with the perfect body, the perfect words, or the perfect moves. He falls in love with how you make him feel about himself when he's with you. He falls in love with the peace in your presence, the safety in your softness, the invitation in your honesty. You don't have to perform to be powerful. You don't have to hide your heart to be desired. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You don't have to be anyone else, because you, in your essence, in your feminine strength, in your sacred truth, are already enough, and when you carry that energy into the intimate space. When you bring love, depth, and spiritual fire into what the world has reduced to mere pleasure, that's when everything changes. That's when a man sees you not as a moment, but as a mirror of God's grace in human form. So don't just aim to arouse him, aim to awaken him. Don't just touch his body, touch his being, because the woman who can do that, she's not just unforgettable, she's irreplaceable, and that woman is you. Now go be her, not just in bed, but in every room you walk into, with love, with fire, with soul, and with purpose.